Okay, size of school board, item D.
Well, this one was mine, and I talked to Barrett last week about this, and according to him, the New Hampshire state statutes say that we could have 3, 5, 7, or 9 people on the school board. It's a straight-up warrant for the voters to approve or not approve. Obviously, the language would have to be written by our attorney, so that it's, I don't mean that it's straight up in the sense that we're just going to motion it, but my reasoning for wanting to do this is particularly in the last couple of months, things have been very hectic for school board members as far as time goes. I think if we increase to 7, it would allow each board member to focus on one committee very in depth and not have to split their time up as much, and get better acquainted with that committee. We have seen this, and our town council expanded its size. I think our issues here get more complex. We're getting into more things. Our own demands on our own time are probably getting higher too as we go along. I would also think that one of the ideas with this was that if we could get to 7, I think it could also release the chair from having to serve on a committee, to let the chair focus just on the organization of the meetings and the schedules and so forth, so that the chair's time is not split up among committees, and can kind of focus on coordinating the boards and the committees. So I guess the downside is the taxpayers would pay 2 more stipends, for 2 more positions. But other than that, I don't really see a downside to it. I also think that there may be times here where we benefit from having 2 more voices, 2 more opinions and point of thought. In talking to Barrett, I asked him what his downsides were, and he said, well, you could have longer meetings because you have 2 more people that want to speak. But if that's the only downside of it, and we can get more work done and learn about the committees that we serve on better, I'm in favor. So I would make a motion that we create a warrant to increase the size of the school board to 7 members.
I'll second.
And I think I already spoke on it, so if anybody else wants to speak.
Cheryl?
First of all, it says that there should be materials enclosed. I didn't have anything in my packet enclosed regarding it. Also, I'm not comfortable. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. It's under new business. I am not prepared to make a vote one way or the other for moving this to the warrant. We do have a full agenda. Right now, especially before the holidays, I would not be prepared to try to research this and consider this until after the holiday. So I definitely am not prepared at all to make a motion or to support a motion to move this to the warrant article, to the warrant.
I would like a little more data on it too. I mean, we talk about data. I understand. Excuse me.
I can help you with data.
Okay. I wouldn't make. I understand it's additional help, if you will, for the board. But again, would like maybe some research done on. Is size of board related to the size of the community, or more to it? I don't disagree with it. I just would like a little more information on it.
Well, it's pressing. I don't know if we put this off. Theoretically, we have one more meeting before the warrants due, but I don't think that we're going to have it written after the next meeting. And I don't know if Karen or Phil knows more about that, but I think we kind of have to decide. My thinking would be is, what is the downside? And as it relates to the size of community and so forth, I think you could find examples of other places and what they've done. But I think what we really should be doing is looking here, and I looked back at the 7 months that I've been on this board, and that's what I used for my data. And I looked at the last month where I've been in 4-hour negotiation meetings and so forth, to a point where I have to decide not to do personal things so that I can fulfill my obligations on committees. And I think you may push people to a point where they just don't want to serve on these committees because they don't know what they're getting into. And to serve on two committees that are demanding at the same time could be unavoidable, but it's also, and I hate to see us on a committee at a point where we're just like, okay, I'll go along because I'm tired and I want to go home. I mean, that's really not our role. And I just think if we could, my thought was if we could add two people, we could focus more on the committees, more of the year, and not just at the time where they get really hot and then spending all that time in one spot. So, I don't know what other data. I did ask, when I asked Barrett about it, he told me on the phone, he goes, it's just pretty straightforward. The law says you can do it or you don't. So as far as the legal aspect of it, I don't see any ramifications. As far as statistically, I would hate to miss out on this opportunity because if we act, then it would be approved or disapproved this spring, and those board members would not be elected until the next spring. So for us that are on this board for another term, we're still here with 5 no matter what happens for one more year. I would like to see that we had some relief coming as we go through things like the high school issue and some of these things that take an awful lot of personal time.
Just to give everyone some research of who does what and what committees people are on. Currently, Dana is on the Budget Committee and CIP, in addition to being the chair. Cheryl sits on 3 committees and is the alternate on 3 committees. Mike Dubus sits on 3 committees and is the alternate on 3 committees. David Pearl is on 3 committees, and I sit on 9 committees. I mean 7, I'm sorry. It's changed, it was 7, it was 8, 1 is gone, but that kind of gives people a frame of reference of the committee load of other people. And that was just my research on it.
Well, I just can't see any downfall. Does anyone have any comments that would see this in a negative light, to go to 7 instead of 5? I mean, I don't see any, I haven't heard any negative reasons why we shouldn't go to 7.
Again, I just feel as though I'm being forced into making a decision that I'm not prepared to. And that is why. I haven't been able to think about it, look at it, discuss it, and I am not prepared. I'm not prepared tonight to make this decision.
I think another point that could be made is, and it happened to you the other day, Dana, where you were at work and you couldn't come to our lawyer meeting. Now, that's not your fault because you work for a living, but it left a smaller group of people trying to make a very critical decision. And to me, the more people that are at that table, the better the community is going to be served, the more confident I'm going to be of my decision because it's shared out. Particularly if that person disagrees with me because it's a counter view. And so I think even if we look at 7, there may be moments where we only have 5. But at least we're down to still having a good complement. And I know math wouldn't prove this out, but there could be times where we're deadlocked. Because if one person's absent, we've got 4. And you hate to have something not pass because of the deadlock vote, because that's right on the edge. So I'm not, and I certainly didn't mean to use you as an example. I've had to miss things as well. I missed the budget workshop this week because I just had to take a day out to work. I just could not expend any more days on school board stuff because of my business. So those are the issues that I see, and I think it will also allow us to entice people to run, because if they think it's more of a shared responsibility, they may not hear some of these stories about how much time we're putting in and say, why would I ever want to run for the school board? So I think it shares the work.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving that motion as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Opposed.
3-2.
Do you want to do a roll call on that because it concerns the warrant?
we can.
I'm just thinking of the record.
Yeah, who's, Tricia? You think you,
I'm in favor.
nay,
Yes.
Nay.
Yes.
3-2?